Though the Pacific region, Central and South America, Sub-Saharan Africa, and the Middle East produce only a fraction of the world's emissions, their demographics are disproportionately affected by the resulting weather. Areas in these regions, including but not limited to Japan, Nicaragua, Bolivia, and Jordan, exemplify population changes due to the weather patterns.
Japan's mean annual temperature has increased by 1 degree Celsius over the last century and is expected to rise by 2 degrees Celsius or 3 degrees Celsius over the next century. Extreme weather events such as heavy rain and tsunamis have become more common. As these issues progress, increased chances of heat wave intensity puts older people at risk of becoming sick. With more heat and moisture come more mosquitoes that spread dengue fever, which is already becoming more prevalent in Hokkaido. These weather events also cause an increase in the cost of living, which result in the migration of people out of the country. With all these pressures, the population in Japan is dramatically decreasing. It has dropped by 1 million since 2010 and is on a continuous decline. Their population of 127 million is expected to shrink to 87 million by 2060. It is predicted in that time frame that there will be a 3% increase in wind-related losses from typhoons and 1.2 to 3.2% increase in demand for water supply because of the warming global temperatures.
Central America has maintained one of the highest population growth rates in the world, despite the high rates of migration out of the region. The region tends to be warm, and its weather is characterized by either a wet season or a dry season. Although drought has affected the region since 2014, causing major effects in infrastructure and agriculture, thus making the environment less survivable for Central Americans. In this interview, Neri Cortez can explain to us how the lack of rain has affected her lifestyle in Honduras.
Sí, la falta de lluvia los ha afectado principalmente en lo que es en los cultivos, porque nosotros aquí cosechamos lo que son las verduras, todo se perdió, todo lo que se sembró se perdió porque, por ejemplo, nosotros hicimos una sandillera, se perdió, maíz, no se cosechó nada, cuestión de frijoles, no se cosechó la cantidad como siempre se cosechaba.
Central America has experienced more droughts than ever and has impacted its people drastically. The arrival of La Niña is said to bring excessive rains, floods, and landslides, which can have an impact on its agriculture. Central America also has frequent natural disasters such as volcanic eruptions and hurricanes, like Hurricane Mitch in 1998 that devastated the population and killed 11,000 people.
South America's contribution to global emissions is less than 4%. Bolivia, South America's poorest country, is significantly affected by climate change despite being only responsible for 0.04% of global emissions. In the past decades, Bolivia has seen a drop in temperatures and an increase in natural disasters. In 2007, Bolivia was ranked amongst the top 50 countries most affected by natural disasters. Damages from 2007 and 2008 were an estimated $547 million, taking a large toll on the Bolivian economy. Lowering temperatures negatively affects the crop productivity. Much of the urban population depends on agriculture and will be directly hurt due to the falling crop yield.
Sub-Saharan Africa is comprised of 48 countries with a grand total of 800 million people. 92% of this large population depends on agricultural production. They rely on it as the foundation that affects their economy, industrialization, trade, and even poverty levels. Food insecurity in Sub-Saharan Africa leads to chronic malnutrition, iron deficiency, and stunted child growth. 3% of the population today is hungry.
The Middle East is already being squeezed by two weather-driven trends, increasing urbanization and increasing vulnerability of urban areas. Example, the UN estimates that in Syria, a 4-year drought drove almost 800,000 rural Bedouin villagers to camps around the cities of Aleppo, Damascus, and Homs.
In Jordan, most farmers experience total crop failure. 85% of the livestock has decimated, making 400 to 500,000 people move into urban areas due to extreme weather changes.
It's difficult to recognize the changes all around us when they're not happening quickly. The demographics of these regions will be drastically different in 10, 20, or even 100 years. The outcome lies in one question: how's the weather?